Welcome to our Green Media podcast, where we will be exploring fascinating recent developments in cooking. Molecular gastronomy mixes science, food, and art. Cooking involves a lot of chemistry. You're boiling, mixing, frying, or roasting in a kitchen, which, if you think about it, is kind of like a science laboratory. Molecular gastronomy is a subdiscipline of food science, which emphasizes a technique by using an intersection of chemistry and cooking to produce better textures and tastes. In the words of chef David Barsley, owner of Lazy Bear in San Francisco, chefs use this technique as a style to make sure awesome things can be as awesome as they can be. The term molecular gastronomy was created in 1992 by French chemist Hervé Thies. Here at USF, Professor Tammy Spector teaches a class on molecular gastronomy, and she uses Hervé Thies' work on food science. Professor Spector explained that there is the food science part in molecular gastronomy, and then there's the technique in making food using chemicals as a way of enhancement.
So I teach it more this way, I guess, in a way, because he's also a chemist.
Okay.
So I teach it very much about sort of looking at sort of the regular foods that you eat and understanding the science underneath those.
So what techniques are these chefs using in their kitchen, or should I say laboratories?
Basically, what these people do, modernist cuisine people do, is taking sort of scientific, primarily chemical means to modify foods into new forms.
Okay.
So like all the sort of rage for foams, for example, or using liquid nitrogen, or making sous vide at low temperature, those kinds of things. Those are very what people consider sort of molecular gastronomy, modern molecular gastronomy for a chef.
Josiah Sloan, chef and owner of Scent Sous Vide in Saratoga, California, said his background influenced his way of cooking. He was an electrical engineering student at UCLA before he decided to leave his studies and work for a restaurant. From there, he worked his way up in the restaurant business. It was in 2003 when he decided to buy Scent Sous Vide and run his own kitchen. So what does this influence have on his technique in the kitchen? Sloan explains.
So sous vide cooking specifically is a cooking process that where you would just in the most basic form, you would, whatever you're cooking, you would vacuum pack it or otherwise seal it in a container or a bag.
And that's how you
often a bag, and then it would be cooked in that container or bag in a temperature controlled environment. We cook them in water baths. You could cook them in steam ovens. There's different ways you could do it, but essentially you're allowing the cooking process to, I think the main things are you're allowing the cooking process to happen in a sealed environment.
Other than sous vide cooking, there are other techniques that Sloan uses in his entrees.
Just as a for instance, in classic French cuisine, you would use gelatin if you wanted to make a jelly of some sort, or an aspic or whatever. Turns out, gelatin is great for certain things, but there's other, you have options. We could use agar, we could use gelin, we could use, sodium alginate, we could use, we have basically, if you went to, I don't know if you went to Modernist Pantry or something.com and looked at the types of ingredients they carry, we use those ingredients on a regular basis as a tool in support of the cuisine, not as a, genesis for the cuisine. We use it to improve what we already want to do.
By using these chemicals as ingredients and, more importantly, understanding the science behind how they work, chefs are able to make intelligent choices that can help elevate their cuisine without being stuck with one option. From using liquid nitrogen to freeze ingredients into an ice cream, to shaping a liquid into spears with sodium alginate, chefs are able to be creative with how they produce their entrees in the context of their own stylistic preferences with food.